going to be the first of a lot of interviews with an incredible researcher and, of course, a political prisoner. He was 100% set up in just a cartoonish fashion many years after, quote, the crimes were committed of robbing banks. A guy who's a West Point grad, no criminal record. Previous to that, sent to prison. And I know why they did it, because when I first read Bloodlines, the Illuminati 10 years ago, when I first read some of his books, I was still in a learning process, and we all are continually. And I was like, you know what, a lot of this can't be true. Now, I knew a lot of it was true because I'd separately already researched it, but some of it was just so outlandish. And then over the years, separately, in my own research from even mainline sources, I found other pieces that was true. I mean, now it's even in major British newspapers that the royals still have their hind ends wiped, that they eat body parts, that they're related to Vlad the Impaler. They're really Transylvanian royalty, not even German royalty. And his book, Bloodlines, the Illuminati, of many books he's written, is just so important. And he's been out of jail now for about a year and is able to speak now. And today, I didn't even tell him really what I wanted him on about. He's on, but I'm going to start getting him on every few weeks. I want to get into the mindset of the highest level Illuminati and how their power structure is set up and some of the main families. Probably should have actually brought this up to him before he came on with us. And then I'm going to do that for about 30 minutes. And then I want to open the phones up for Fritz Springmeier today, joining us via video Skype from his home in Portland, Oregon. But the book, Bloodlines Illuminati, you know, we didn't have it on the shopping cart for about a month because we sold out of it. And because it was on print demand, we always had trouble getting enough of them. I just went ahead and bellied up to the bar and helped Fritz print a couple thousand of these. They're available right now at Infowars.com. We are the warehouser, not as distributor. We're just the warehouser of the books, and we have them, whether you want them for wholesale or whether you want to buy them individually. And he is mailing us some signed stickers we're going to put in some of the books. Those will be available next week. But Bloodlines of the Illuminati, available at Infowars.com right now. Fritz, we're about to go to break, and we're going to come back and recap all this. But good to have you with us. How are you enjoying 2012?
Oh, doing great. Thank you. Yeah, I'm doing fine.
What do you think about that that request on breaking down, really crystallizing the mindset, the worldview, the ultimate goal, and who some of these top families are in the Bloodlines?
Sure, we can do that when we come back from break.
Yeah, I apologize.
You're wanting to take a break right now?
Yeah, we're about to go to break. And of course, I know you've always got this info pretty much at your fingertips. It's just that I probably should have relayed that to you earlier. And then you can recommend next time you come on what subject you want to get into, because I know you've written books on so many subjects. How many books have you written?
Well, 19 in all.
And how many of them are in print right now?
Very few. Thanks to your assistance, we're able to make the Bloodlines available, and then there's about a half a dozen others that are available to people.
You know, there's something in this book particularly that really made them angry at you.
Well, take your pick. There's plenty for them to get upset about, and we'll discuss some of that. Yeah, I'll be glad to talk about their mindset. People naturally assume that someone who's controlling the world thinks like they do, but these people do not think like you or I. They have a totally different mindset, and they view us like you would an ant. You know, if you stepped on an ant as you were walking on the sidewalk, you wouldn't even be concerned about it.
And of course, they say that about us, how much they hate us, how we're scum, how we're filth. They publish little hate letters to humanity, and the general public responds by fawning after them. We'll be right back with our guest, Fritz Springmeier. Stay with us, Fritz. Okay, for the rest of the hour, Fritz Springmeier, a researcher, author, political prisoner, is going to be with us. Then Dr. Stan Monteith and Bob Chapman together. Dr. Stan Monteith says he has some breaking news concerning Iran. It must be important because I invite him on the show all the time, but he rarely reaches out to us to come on. Now, we just got Fritz Springmeier on. I've talked about the fact that, and I've gone over his case last time he was on. No criminal record up to that point. Years after some banks get robbed, he gets set up by known informants and sent to jail for bank robbery. And, of course, he's pointed out it's a complete fraud. And this is a guy who was speaking to packed halls that I saw on videos of thousands of people, 19 books in print. And right before they set him up, I remember the year before, he said, yeah, the cops broke in my house looking for marijuana grow labs. Of course, nothing was found. Yeah, you know, the local news was reporting that during the raid, they found extremist material. Gotta love that, where they break in your house, then talk about what's on your bookshelf as if you agree with everything on your bookshelf that you're reading. I mean, I've read Mein Kampf. It doesn't mean I agree with Hitler. I wanted to read what he said. I've read a book by Julius Caesar, too. I'm not a you know, patrician class, supporter of the Roman city-state. I mean, it's so ridiculous. I've read Nietzshe. Doesn't mean I support all the ideas of Nietzsche. I do think that which does not kill you only makes you stronger and stranger, to kind of paraphrase Nietzsche and the Joker. But then he was correcting me during the break, just a side issue. We actually have some of those photos. You know, that he went to West Point, but then got out of it, not a graduate of West Point, because of what he saw as some of the mind control there. He also, if I remember correctly, even lived with the Amish for a while to study that, and just had some amazing travels and things he saw. I think it's best to start out. A lot of people know who you are. We're on XM. We've gotten dozens of new affiliates, more than a dozen just in the last few weeks. I need to mention some of those today. So it's probably important for you to introduce yourself to folks so they know who you are. And then let's get into, in this interview, to what I mentioned in the first little short segment. What is the mindset of the Illuminati? What is their goal? What are some of the top families? And where are they taking our planet? But Fritz, and then while you're mentioning the West Point thing, as I guess you sent this to my producers, I wasn't aware of it, photos of you at West Point doing military training. It is some important point you want to make in general. So we'll raise those photos for prisonplanet.tv viewers and radio listeners whenever you're ready. So Fritz, you've got the floor. Go ahead.
Well, people can go to my blog and read some about me. That's one way of getting a little introduction. Another little introduction right here at the time is I'm a follower of Christ, and that's what's important in my life. It's not about me, it's about Christ. And yeah, I have had a very unusual life where I was exposed to a lot of different things, living overseas, traveling overseas, had a father who wanted to save the world by going to third world countries and developing their agriculture. And like you said, I went to West Point, and as you were saying there, I was concerned about the things that I was seeing when I was in the military, and I didn't feel comfortable being in the military with the mindset that I saw around me. So I resigned, and some people thought it was a reaction to having been in the military that I turned around and joined the Amish, but it wasn't that. It was that I was looking for something that was outside of the system, and it's hard to find anything that wants to live a good life, good, clean life, and that's not involved with the system. And so I was outside of the system for a little while I was Amish, and then I felt called by God to come back and warn people about what was going on. And so that's what I've been doing these last few decades, is warning people just like yourself, except the last decade was spent mostly in a POW camp while you were out here continuing the good fight. So that explains a little bit about myself. But again, like I say, it's not about me, it's about Christ, and then the truth of what I'm saying. One of the things that they try to do to shut me up is they try to tarnish the reputation of the messenger. And as you know, you've been out there, you know how people come out of the woodwork to say all kinds of crazy things about you. It's not about me. Look at the truth of what I'm saying. Look at the documentation. Research these things for yourself, people. and you'll start seeing it all makes sense, and you'll start putting the pieces together for yourself. I'm not asking you to take my word for it.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier, is that when I first read some of your books more than a decade ago, a lot of it I could confirm because I'd done separate research, but some of it sounded so far out. But over time, I would separately, even in establishment publications, find large pieces that added to it. And now as my understanding's gotten deeper, that's how the globalists see it. We're asleep, they're awake, they are programming the subconscious, and they're trying to create a totally fake, false reality so they can deceive people. And that's what you were talking about decades ago. So let's get into it. Crystallizing it for new listeners. What is the Illuminati? Who are they? Who do they serve? What do they want? What makes them tick? And then let's go over some of the families.
Okay. Some people kind of cringe when they hear that word Illuminati, like this is a word that they really don't, some conspiracy nut is using or something. This is their own terminology. When I started trying to help people that were trying to escape from the Illuminati, members that had been teamed together, that was their term for it. That's the term that they normally use. Now, in rituals, they may use terms like the family or the circle, don't break the circle. They may use other words, but the term Illuminati is the word that they use themselves, and its meaning is that they believe that they have been illumined to godhood, that they are gods, and of course, we're the little peons. They're the pharaohs, and we're the serfs, and that's their mentality. They're in a class above us. We're more or less subhuman, and their mentality, a lot of what goes on is a consequence of that view right there. And they've had that view for many thousands of years. This isn't something that's just come about overnight. They have a plan. This plan is an agenda, and we've been in a great transition in recent years to bring the entire world under the control of the beast computer, which is linked to the internet. So you'll notice that there's been an increasing...
And by the way, they really call it over in Europe, they really call that particular computer system the worldwide beast, and it's a standardized global system. In fact, from Davos yesterday, Homeland Security put out a press release and talks about the global centralized computer database to buy and sell. That was in a press release yesterday, sorry. Exactly.
So this one world mind, we're all becoming pulled into it. The computers that we have, the PCs, the big ones that are on our desks, those are going to be obsolete in a few years. We're going to have these handheld devices in our hands that won't even need memory because storing memory is going to be redundant. You're going to have these broadband, such good broadband devices that you can tap into the world mind instantly.
But the globalists can then also erase whatever they want instantly, and that brings total control.
Exactly. So we're all being sucked into this one world mind, one global government, where we're all going to be like little adjuncts, little fingers of this beast, and little cells of this beast. We're just going to be, as they used to say, cogs in a machine, and it's becoming increasingly that way. But a lot of us are considered worthless eaters, and so there's been a number of written agendas. Henry Kissinger had one, but there's many others where they have outlined on paper and sometimes publicly came out with these things where they want to get rid of a large share of us, genocide.
So death is at the heart of their agenda.
Boy, that's true. And you can look at it from several different directions. You can say, well, these people, the evil that they're doing would require them to justify their actions by being Satanist, or you could look at it the other way and say, because they're Satanists, they have these agendas. But either way you want to look at it, they're Gnostic philosophy that is.
Yeah, they don't see themselves as Satanists. They think Lucifer's God. They think it's very beautiful.